Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing Jaeger-LeCoultre's other extreme sports watch. It's the Master Compressor Extreme Tourbillon limited edition of 30 pieces. You can see and you can purchase this combination grade 5 titanium 18 karat rose gold Tourbillon GMT sports watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos. And please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Master Compressor Extreme Tourbillon. Now, the watch on my wrist was a boutique series of 30 pieces, not to be confused with the limited series of 350 pieces that is superficially quite similar. Now, the watch on my wrist represents the rarest iteration of this already quite rare JLC Master Compressor Extreme Tourbillon. Most of these watches in this particular series were the World Chronograph or the World Alarm. So this one, a standout as a type, is rarer still as a specific edition of 30. It's a big watch on my wrist. You can see it's 46 millimeters across the round of the case as I measure it from 9 to 3, not including the crown or compressor winglets. It's not as thick as the Extreme Lab 2 at 16.5 millimeters thick. It's even reasonable from lug to lug, being 54.5 millimeters. The fit issues that you see here all stem from the fact that the conforming profile end links of the strap cause it to flare a little bit out, and you can see in rather dramatic fashion from this angle just how far flared the strap is beyond my wrist. The good news is, for about $300 you can buy the diver style strap for this watch, and I would be able to wear it comfortably with that strap. And I say that because I own this exact case size in the World Alarm Tides of Time edition, and I wear it on the pleated bellows style strap with absolute comfort and a secure fit. So on this strap, I would say the minimum wrist size to wear the watch realistically is probably 17 centimeters in circumference. My 16 centimeter wrist is overwhelmed by the stiffness of this strap. I would also say that if you were to put it on the rubber accessory strap that JLC sells, then you would be able to wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15.5 centimeters in circumference. So a world of fit possibilities, all of them opened up by the fact that this watch, and I'm going to show you this in detail, uses a quick release strap system that allows rapid swapping between straps. It also uses a standard spring bar arrangement, so if you go out and you get a strap that will fit, you can put any standard strap, including NATO's, that uses spring bars into this quick release system. So it's not a proprietary strap arrangement like you'll see on Cartier timepieces or IWC or Hublot. Any strap with the proper width and a spring bar can fit. Now I'm going to take the strap off entirely, something I normally wouldn't do, talk about the strap, and then we'll talk about the watch. It is a very high grade strap, as you can see, with beautiful folded edges, robustly contoured to the shape of the case. As you can see, by closing the gap to the flank of the case, if you have that big wrist and this is the strap for you, the appearance of integration is seamless, almost as though the watch were on a bracelet. It's a combination of dark brown calfskin leather with a textile inlay right down the center to give it a little bit of definition. You can see that it features a double monotone stitch, an unusual treatment, and it's bound by Jaeger-LeCoultre's first generation double deployant clasp. This one features high polish inside and out with a little bit of satin finish on the top of the buckle for contrast. It's very comfortable on the wrist, and in fact you don't have to abandon it just because you put the watch on a rubber strap. It'll transfer over easily and be quite comfortable in the process, with a cradle on the underside designed to trace the contours of the underside of your wrist. The strap is beautifully made on both sides, and the complementary tones of the gorgeous rose gold buckle play nicely against the brown of the leather. Now let's go back to the watch. This is a little bit different. All the same, it actually makes my job quite a good deal easier. Now you can see the lines of the case should be familiar. For anyone who's versed in 2000s era Jaeger-LeCoultre, you've seen this case profile for everything from standard Master line watches, including the likes of the Master Calendar or Reserve de Marche. You've seen it in tourbillon watches, perpetual calendar watches, even the Master compressors in various sizes, but the profile, the actual shape and the proportions haven't really changed. Now they're simple and they're strong. The watch has a lot of personality with big, deep, extensive lugs that you can see have a hairline polished bevel to ease the transition between the satin finished top and the satin finished flanks. I'm going to get a little closer if I can. You can see that there are a few hairline polished elements to afford contrast. but for the most part, the contrast comes between the grade 5 titanium internal case and the rose gold of the exterior. And that's an important point to make. This watch has two cases. There's this internal case you see made of titanium poking through the rose gold chassis, and then there's the rose gold chassis itself. The buffer between them helps to absorb shock, which is why this watch has extensive shock attenuating capability, to the point that Jaeger-LeCoultre has even said at various points that you can engage in mountain biking activities while wearing it. I'm not going to swear by that for the Tourbillon, but I've tested the theory with my world alarm, and it lost no more than a second that day. So far, so good. Now, it also features the compressor crown system. The Master Compressor Extreme Lab 2, despite its name, does not feature the compressor crown. This is an ingenious system that allows you to turn 1/2 turn, and now you've unlocked the crown for winding and for setting functions. 1/2 turn, and now you've restored 100-meter hermetic seal. This is important because oftentimes with a sports watch, you want to be able to actuate the crown, for instance, to set the watch or wind the watch, when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. And so this system allows you to do that with far easier purchase than a strangled and shouldered screw-down crown. This is simply a better answer for most people. The timepiece also features a dramatic dial that is beautifully chocolate in tone. Let me see if I can increase my aperture just a little bit to make it easier to see the dial's color, because the dial is rich. It's a sort of cocoa tobacco. I would describe it as a sort of chocolate matte, somewhere between milk chocolate and dark. The rose gold accents of the dial, as well as the gold of the balance and the tri-spoke of the constant seconds atop the tourbillon, play nicely against the dark and rich base. It has a radial ray halt, which is outboard, bearing the calibrations of the date, and it provides a nice gradual slope down, a nice dished slope down to the plane of the bezel, with a small step down from the ray halt to the dial base. All of the indices, as well as the hands at center, are 18 karat gold for resistance to tarnishing and corrosion. You'll also note that the watch features a Countersunk Gmt Dial at 12 o'clock for the second time zone, independent. So though the watch has the romance of the tourbillon, it does have the practicality of shock resistance, water resistance, automatic winding with a 48-hour power reserve, and the second time zone. But enough to tell. Let's show. The watch features a unique radial date designed to jump the span from the 15th to the 16th in the course of a single night. Now, of course, you can set the local time without stopping the watch as you travel, but note the position of the date indicator. Now, in the course of a single night, the indicator jumps entirely across the tourbillon cage to avoid obscuring it. Now, you'll also note that the system allows you to drive the date in either direction with no hazard to the mechanism, depending on whether you're jumping east or west across the international date line in your travels. Now, the watch is beautifully loomed, and yes, there will be a loom shot at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. If you want to adjust everything in sync, you simply pull the crown to the outermost position, and now you can see how the 24-hour dial at 12 o'clock advances in sync with the center. If you don't need the second time zone, you can set them up to sync with each other so that the dial at 12 effectively acts as an AM-PM distinction for the time at center. Now, the tourbillon. This is even more than the size and the color of the case, with its masses of gold and huge sheer sides. It is the tourbillon that catches your eye. The bow tie-shaped tourbillon bridge is beautifully executed with true mirrored anglage, the highest standard, optically smooth and gleaming. This light box doesn't do justice to it, but it explodes in direct light. Other aspects of the tourbillon carriage, entirely crafted out of titanium, are equally well executed, and titanium is not easy to finish, especially when parts are this small and this light. The entire tourbillon cage weighs only about 1/4 of a gram, and it circulates in 1-minute cycles, so it's a 1-minute tourbillon. Now, while the tourbillon traditionally would have been used to equalize the timing deviation of a pocket watch that sits in one position by rotating the escapement assembly with respect to gravity, this watch takes no chances, featuring both the rotating carriage of the tourbillon, but also a Breguet overcoil hairspring to ensure concentric beating of the hairspring. Therefore, the watch has a truly relevant wristwatch measure of protection against positionally induced timing deviation, that is, deviation due to gravity. So you have the tourbillon and the Breguet overcoil. There's also a sort of side lever escapement arrangement so that the lever and the escape wheel and the balance are not perfectly in line like you'd see on a traditional Swiss leather. Rather, this lever system actually features a little bit of a side-scrolling or crab-like motion to the lever itself as it impulses the balance to keep everything closer to the center and even the center of gravity as close as possible to the staff itself. Now, the movement is the caliber 978, which is the GMT automatic winding unidirectional with ceramic rotor bearings for efficiency and low maintenance requirements. As you can see, it does meet the Master 1000 hours test of fully cased up chronometric precision as well as resistances, winding efficiency, and power reserve. It's essentially a sports watch movement that has had a tourbillon carriage added. And in 2009, this movement in the Master Tourbillon from Jaeger-LeCoultre actually won the Concours de Chronometrie at the Horological Museum of Loloc, Switzerland, beating no less an opponent than Jaeger-LeCoultre's own and far more expensive Gyro Tourbillon 2. So you're talking about a watch that offers something the Extreme Lab 2 does not, a gorgeous tourbillon and a victorious competition history. Maybe this isn't the other Jaeger-LeCoultre Extreme Sports watch after all. This is a timepiece that offers immense presence. It's not for the faint of heart or the bashful. That said, if you have a personality equal to the radiance of this watch, you may just have met your match. See it and own it on our website. And now we're looking at the Master Compressor Extreme Tourbillon limited series of 30 pieces. You can see this is a watch that doesn't shrink from sight in the dark. Anything but afraid of the dark. This is a watch that is absolutely brilliant day or night. Gold by day, luminova by night.